There is a unique kind of pain that doesn't just wound, it shatters. It leaves you gasping, reaching out, desperate to find something solid to hold on to, only to realize that everything you once believed was secure is slipping through your fingers. It is the pain of betrayal, an invisible dagger buried deep into your back, not by an enemy, but by someone you trusted, a friend, a partner, a colleague, a family member, someone who once stood beside you, who smiled in your face, who made you believe in their loyalty, only to turn on you when it mattered most. The moment of betrayal is not just about what was done to you, it is about what it does to you. It shakes your foundation, distorts your sense of reality, and forces you into a confrontation with a question you never wanted to ask. Was everything a lie? You start replaying conversations, analyzing past moments, searching for signs you missed, wondering if you were blind all along. The weight of it is suffocating because it's not just about the act itself, it's about the destruction of trust, certainty, and security. And that's when the mind begins its downward spiral. Rage consumes you. You want justice. You want to expose them, to make them feel the depth of the suffering they inflicted on you. Or maybe you shut down entirely, numb, lost, withdrawing into yourself, convinced that you were a fool to trust in the first place. And then, in the silence, a darker realization creeps in. You are alone in this. The person you thought would stand beside you has proven they never truly valued you. The safety you believed in was an illusion. This is where most people stay, paralyzed, trapped. Some drown in resentment, letting the bitterness of the betrayal corrode them from the inside out. Others build walls so high that no one, no friend, no ally, no love will ever reach them again. Some people let the betrayal define them, shaping them into a hollowed-out version of who they once were, forever carrying the weight of what was done to them. But that is not the only option. Because what if I told you that this betrayal, as brutal as it feels, is also an opportunity, not in some shallow, dismissive way, but in a way that forces you to wake up, to evolve, to rise from the ashes of what was broken. Because betrayal is more than just an ending, it is a beginning. And whether you believe it now or not, you are standing at a crossroads. There are two paths before you. One is easy. It is the path of destruction, giving in to anger, allowing yourself to become bitter, to withdraw from the world, to let this moment define the rest of your life. And then there is the other path, the one few take, but the one that leads to strength, resilience, and transformation. It is the path where you do not just survive the betrayal, you master it. That path is brutal. It requires you to face truths about yourself, to unlearn patterns, to break the cycle of dependence on people who were never worthy of your trust, but it is the path that ensures you will never be broken like this again. You might not feel ready for it. The weight of what happened might still be too much to bear. But listen closely, no one ever feels ready for transformation. No one wakes up one day and effortlessly sheds the pain of their past. It is a battle, fought day by day, choice. And if you're still listening, if you haven't turned away from this moment, then something deep within you knows the truth. You are capable of more than just surviving this. You are capable of coming back stronger than ever. So the question is no longer, why did this happen to me? The real question is, what will I do now? That answer will define everything that follows. Because betrayal is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your next chapter. And if you are willing to take the path of strength, there are 10 life-changing things you must do, not just to heal, but to ensure that this moment becomes the turning point where you reclaim your power, your dignity, and your future. Now let's begin. Face the pain without running from it. Pain is a teacher, but unlike the teachers you had in school, this one doesn't speak in words. It speaks in silence, in restless nights, in the way your chest tightens when you remember what was done to you. It does not negotiate. It does not offer comfort. It does not care whether you think it's fair. It simply demands to be felt. Most people run from this. They distract themselves. They numb the pain with temporary comforts, food, alcohol, entertainment, relationships, anything to drown out the thoughts that creep in when they are alone. But here's the hard truth. What you refuse to face will haunt you. It will linger in the background of your life, shaping your choices, distorting your future, ensuring that no matter where you go, the weight of the past follows. You cannot heal what you refuse to confront. The first thing you must do when life hits hard, when betrayal rips through you like a storm, is to stand still in the wreckage and face it. Not with anger, not with denial, but with absolute, unfiltered honesty. This happened, it hurt, it changed me, and I will not pretend otherwise. Does that mean wallowing in self-pity? No. It means acknowledging the depth of the wound without minimizing it, without rationalizing it, without running from the discomfort. Because if you don't face it, it will manifest in other ways. It will seep into your relationships, your habits, your outlook on life. It will turn into bitterness, cynicism, distrust, not because you chose those things, but because you never dealt with the pain properly. There is an ancient truth that few are willing to accept. The only way out is through. That means sitting with the discomfort. That means allowing yourself to process what happened, not once, not twice, but as many times as it takes. It means resisting the urge to suppress it, to move on too quickly, to pretend that it didn't affect you. Because if you do that, the wound does not close. It festers. Imagine a soldier in battle who takes a bullet to the leg. He has two choices. He can pretend the wound isn't there, keep running, ignore the pain, until one day he collapses because the infection has spread through his entire body. Or he can stop. He can acknowledge the injury, he can clean it, stitch it, endure the pain of healing, knowing that only through suffering can he regain his strength. This is where most people fail. They do not want to sit in discomfort. They do not want to feel the weight of what happened. They do not want to relive the betrayal, the disappointment, the heartbreak, so they move too quickly, convincing themselves they are fine, when in reality they are carrying an open wound that will only grow deeper with time. But you are not like most people. If you were, you wouldn't still be listening. Something inside of you knows that avoiding this pain will only prolong your suffering. Something inside of you knows that you have to face this if you ever want to be free from it. So how do you do that? You give yourself permission to grieve. You stop suppressing the emotions, pretending to be unaffected. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to scream, scream. If you need to sit in silence staring at the wall, do that too, because all of it is part of healing. But here's the key: you do not stay there. Feeling the pain is not the same as drowning in it. You let yourself process, but you do not let yourself spiral. You do not allow one act of betrayal to define your entire existence. You face it, you endure it, and then slowly but surely you rise. This is the hardest step, but it is also the most important, because if you do not face the pain now, it will control you for the rest of your life. You will carry resentment in your heart. You will build walls so high that no one can ever reach you again. You will live in fear, in anger, in distrust, because you never truly let yourself heal. And that is not an option, not for you. Stand in the fire. Feel the weight of what was done to you. Do not run, do not numb it, do not bury it, because once you've faced it, once you've endured it, you will realize something powerful. It did not destroy you. And when you know that, when you truly understand that you have survived the worst and are still standing, you become untouchable. Refuse to drown in bitterness. Bitterness is the easy path. It requires no effort, no discipline, no self-reflection, no inner strength. It is the natural reaction to betrayal, and at first it feels justified. Someone wronged you, they deceived you, abandoned you, humiliated you. You trusted them, and they threw that trust away without a second thought. So why shouldn't you hate them? Why shouldn't you wish for them to suffer as you? But here's the problem. Bitterness does not destroy them. It destroys you. You think you are punishing them by holding on to the anger, by replaying the betrayal in your mind, by wishing for justice, for karma, for the universe to make them pay. But while they move on with their life, you are the one who remains shackled to the past. You are the one who carries the weight of what they did every single day while they remain unaffected. That is the great lie of bitterness. It makes you believe that by holding on to resentment, you are somehow in control. But resentment does not make you powerful. It makes you a prisoner. And here is something even harder to accept. Bitterness is a choice. It does not feel like one at first. It feels automatic, instinctive. You were hurt, so now you hate. But if you do not actively fight against it, it will consume you. It will shape how you see the world, how you interact with others, how you live your life. You will begin to assume that everyone is out to betray you. You will sabotage relationships before they even have a chance to grow. You will carry a permanent scowl, distrusting every act of kindness, always expecting the worst. And worst of all, you will become like the person who hurt you. Because bitterness is not just an emotion, it is a slow transformation. The more you feed it, the more it rewires your mind. You think you are holding on to it as a weapon, but in reality, it is holding on to you, changing you, making you cold, resentful, closed off. So, what do? How do you refuse to drown in bitterness when every part of you wants to stay angry? First, you must understand that letting go of bitterness does not mean letting them off the hook. This is where people get stuck. They think that by releasing their resentment, they are excusing the betrayal. But letting go is not about them. It is about you. It is about freeing yourself from the weight of what happened so that you can move forward without carrying the poison in your heart. You were wronged, that is a fact, but do not let that moment define the rest of your life. Second, you must redirect your energy. The time you spend thinking about them, about what they did, about how unfair it was, that is time wasted. That is energy that could be spent building yourself, strengthening yourself, becoming someone so powerful that the betrayal becomes irrelevant. Because the best revenge is not hatred, it is indifference. It is reaching a place where you no longer care, where their existence no longer has any hold over you. And third, you must make a conscious decision to release it. Not once, not twice, but every single time the resentment creeps in. Every time your mind drifts back to what they did. Every time you feel the anger rise in your chest, you remind yourself, I refuse to let this control me, because you do have a choice. And you can either let their betrayal define you, or you can take that power back. You did not choose to be betrayed, but you do get to choose what happens next. Analyze the lesson hidden in the betrayal. Betrayal is painful, but it is also revealing. It exposes truths that were always there, truths you might have ignored, denied, or been too blind to see. And this is where most people fail. They suffer, they rage, they drown in resentment, but they never stop to ask the most important question. What is this betrayal teaching me? Because make no mistake, there is always a lesson. The problem is most people don't want to see it. It's easier to play the victim, to say they hurt me, they betrayed me, and that's all there is to it. But if you stop there, you learn nothing. And if you learn nothing, you are doomed to repeat the same patterns, to walk into the same kind of relationships, to trust the wrong people again and again. Right? So what is the betrayal trying to show you? Maybe you ignored the warning signs. Maybe the person who betrayed you had shown you who they were all along, but you chose not to believe it. Maybe you made excuses for them, rationalized their behavior, convinced yourself that they would never do to you what they did to others, but they did. And now you have a choice. Will you see clearly, or will you deceive yourself again? Or maybe the betrayal is teaching you about your own boundaries, or lack thereof. Did you allow someone too much access to your life, your trust, your emotions? Did you place your happiness in their hands? Did you invest in them more than they ever invested in you? And if so, why? What made you ignore your own worth? Because here's the truth, betrayal does not happen in a vacuum, it happens in a context. It happens within a dynamic. And while you are not responsible for someone else's actions, you are responsible for what you accept, what you tolerate, and what you allow to continue. That is a difficult reality to face. But it is also the key to ensuring that this never happens to you again. And here is where the real power lies. Once you extract the lesson, the betrayal loses its grip over you. It no longer defines you. It no longer chains you to the past, because now, instead of just being a victim of someone else's deceit, you are someone who has grown wiser because of it. You are someone who sees the world more clearly, who understands people more deeply, who will never again be so easily fooled. So do not run from the lesson. Look at it, own it, learn from it. Because once you do, the betrayal no longer weakens you, it strengthens you. Cut off what no longer serves you. There comes a moment when you have to stop analyzing, stop questioning, and start making a choice. And one of the hardest choices you will ever make after betrayal is deciding who no longer belongs in your life. People cling to relationships out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of admitting that they invested in the wrong person. And because of that fear, they keep connections alive that should have been severed long ago. They hold on to friendships that are built on deceit, relationships that are hollow, and attachments that only drain them. But let me tell you something. Once someone has betrayed you, they have revealed their nature. Believe them. Do not fall into the trap of seeking explanations, waiting for apologies, or giving them second chances they do not deserve. There is a certain kind of person who will betray you and then come back, acting as if nothing happened. And if you let them in, if you allow them to play the same role in your life, they will do it again. So the question is, are you willing to cut them off? Because this is not just about removing toxic people. It's about proving to yourself that you respect yourself enough to walk away. It's about understanding that keeping someone in your life who has proven they do not value you is an act of self-betrayal. Does that mean you need to hate them? No, you don't need to waste any more energy on them at all. You simply stop giving them access to you. You stop explaining yourself. You stop trying to make them understand your pain. You stop giving them power over your emotions. It won't be easy at first. Your mind will make excuses. It will tell you maybe it wasn't that bad. It will remind you of the good times, of the moments when they seemed genuine, of the things that kept you attached in the first place. But listen closely. Those good moments do not erase the betrayal. They do not undo the damage, and they do not change the reality of what this person is capable of. Walk away with clarity, cut them off with certainty, not out of anger, not out of vengeance, but out of self-respect. Because once you do, you are no longer controlled by the betrayal. You are no longer tangled in a web of manipulation, broken promises, and false hope. You are free. And that freedom is worth more than any attachment you are afraid to let go of. Guard your heart, but don't become a prisoner. Betrayal changes you. It forces you to see the world in a way you never did before. It makes you question everything, your judgment, your instincts, your ability to trust. And if you are not careful, it will turn you into someone you were never meant to be. This is what happens to most people after they've been hurt. They close themselves off. They decide that trust is a risk not worth taking. They build walls so high that no one, not even the people who truly care, can reach them. They mistake isolation for protection. But here's the truth. Guarding your heart is necessary. Living in fear is not. You must learn to protect yourself, but not at the cost of your own freedom, because when you let betrayal turn you into someone who trusts no one, who assumes the worst in people, who avoids connection out of fear, you are not protecting yourself. So how do you find the balance? First, recognize that trust is earned. You don't give it freely, but you also don't assume that everyone is out to hurt you. You observe, you listen, you pay attention to people's actions, not just their words. If someone shows you through consistency, honesty, and integrity that they are trustworthy, you allow them into your life slowly. Second, stop letting past betrayal define future relationships. Just because someone betrayed you does not mean everyone will. Carrying that mindset is like drinking poison daily, expecting it to protect you. It won't. It will only keep you weak, fearful, and alone. And third, trust yourself more than you trust anyone else. If betrayal taught you anything, it should have taught you this. You are your own protector. You have instincts for a reason. You know when something feels off. You know when someone's words don't match their actions. And if you've been betrayed before, you have now been given a gift, the ability to see through deception faster than ever before. So use that gift, but don't let it control you. Don't let fear dictate how you live. Because the real tragedy of betrayal is not the loss of a person. It's the loss of yourself. And if you close yourself off completely, if you stop trusting, if you stop believing in the possibility of good people, then the betrayer has won. And that is not an option, not for you. Shift your focus to self-improvement. After betrayal, your mind will try to pull you into an endless cycle of questions. Why did this happen? How could they do this to me? What did I do to deserve this? And while these questions feel urgent, while they seem like they might lead to some kind of resolution, they won't. They will only keep you trapped, stuck in the past, reliving the pain, replaying the betrayal like a movie you can't turn off. But there is something far more powerful than trying to understand someone else's actions, redirecting all of your energy back into yourself. Because here's the truth, the best revenge is not anger. It's not proving them wrong. It's not waiting for karma to strike them down. The best revenge is becoming someone so strong, so unshakable, so full of purpose that the betrayal becomes irrelevant. That's why when life hits hard, you must shift your focus to self-improvement. You must take all the time, energy, and emotion that you would have wasted on them and turn it into fuel for your own growth. So what does that look like? First, rebuild your body. Physical movement is one of the fastest ways to reclaim your power. Go to the gym, lift heavy weights, run, train. Do something that reminds you that you are strong, that you are capable, that you are in control of yourself. Pain lives in the body just as much as it lives in the mind. So use your body to fight back. Second, sharpen your mind. Read books that challenge you. Learn new skills. Study philosophy, psychology, history, whatever expands your understanding of the world and yourself. Because betrayal teaches you something critical. People can take things from you, but they can never take what's inside your mind. Third, develop unshakable discipline. When someone betrays you, the first instinct is to fall apart, to let the pain consume you, to neglect yourself, to stop caring. But that is exactly when you need discipline the most. Get up, show up, do the work, not for them, not to prove anything to anyone, but because you refuse to let this break you. And here's what happens when you commit to this path. One day, without even realizing it, you stop thinking about them. You stop replaying the betrayal. You stop caring about whether they regret it, whether they miss you, whether they ever truly valued you, because you are too busy building yourself into someone they could never break again. And that is true power. Silence is power. Do not explain yourself to those who wronged you. When you've been betrayed, there is an instinct, a deep, almost uncontrollable urge to confront them, to make them understand what they've done, to demand answers, to force them to acknowledge the pain they caused. But listen carefully. You owe them nothing. Not an explanation, not a conversation, not a reaction. Because here's what most people don't realize. Silence is power. And the moment you engage, the moment you try to make them see your worth, to justify your pain, to get them to admit their mistake, you hand that power back to them. Think about it. If someone can betray you, lie to you, deceive you, and then continue with their life as if nothing happened, what makes you think a conversation will change them? Do you honestly believe they don't already know what they did? That they somehow missed the fact that they hurt you? That they need you to spell it out for them? No, they know. They knew when they did it. And if they truly cared, they wouldn't have done it in the first place. So what do? You go silent. You do not beg for closure. You do not send long messages explaining how deeply they hurt you. You do not seek validation from someone who already showed you they do not value you. Because here's the truth. Silence makes them wonder. It forces them to sit with their own actions. It robs them of the reaction they were expecting. And most importantly, it keeps you in control. And make no mistake, they will notice. The moment you stop explaining, stop justifying, stop chasing, they will feel the shift. They will wonder why you are no longer reacting, why you are no longer feeding their ego with your pain. And that is where your power lies. Because silence is not weakness. Silence is proof that you have risen above the situation, that you no longer need their validation, that they no longer have access to your energy. And when you master this, when you learn to walk away without a word, you will discover something liberating. You no longer care whether they understand or not, because you have moved on, and that is the greatest victory of all. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Betrayal has a way of isolating you. It makes you question not just the person who hurt you, but everyone. It plants a seed of doubt that whispers, if they could do this, who else might betray me? That doubt can be so strong that it pushes you to withdraw from people altogether, to stop trusting, to stop letting anyone in, to convince yourself that you are better off alone. But here's the truth. You are not meant to do this alone. Yes, betrayal exposes the wrong people, but it also forces you to find the right ones. Because if you take this pain and use it as an excuse to build walls, if you let yourself become a prisoner of your own distrust, then the person who betrayed you still wins. They took your faith in people, and you never got it back. And that is not an option. So what do? First, you take inventory of your circle. Not everyone in your life is against you, but not everyone is for you either. Pay attention. Who was there when you were at your lowest? Who checked in, not because they wanted something, but because they genuinely cared? Those are the people who matter. Second, you make a decision. Going forward, you only allow people in your life who add value. That means no more tolerating lukewarm friendships, one-sided relationships, or people who drain you. You've already seen what betrayal looks like. Now you prioritize loyalty, honesty, and mutual respect. And third, you seek out people who push you to grow. The best way to move past betrayal is to surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you, who remind you that trust is still possible. You do not heal in isolation, you heal in connection, but only with the right people. And when you do this, something incredible happens. You stop seeing betrayal as a loss. You start seeing it as a filter, a painful but necessary process that removed the wrong people from your life and made room for the right ones. Because in the end, betrayal does not have to break you, it can refine you. It can teach you who truly belongs in your life. And when you find those people, you will realize that the ones who betrayed you were never meant to stay. Turn your suffering into a mission. Pain, when left unchecked, can consume you. It can make you bitter, isolated, and resentful. But pain, when harnessed correctly, can become your greatest source of power. It can become your mission. The people who change the world, the ones who leave a mark, the ones who rise above their suffering, all have one thing in common. They did not waste their pain. They did not let their suffering become the end of their story. Instead, they turned it into something greater than themselves. And now that choice is in front of you. You have two options. You can let this betrayal define you as a victim, or you can use it to fuel something far more powerful. Because the truth is, there are countless people out there who have suffered the same kind of pain you have. They feel lost, they feel broken, they feel like they will never trust again. And right now you have the opportunity to take what you have endured and use it to help others. So how do you do that? First, you extract the lessons. What did this betrayal teach you? Not just about other people, but about yourself, about your boundaries, your strength, your ability to rise after being knocked down. Because those lessons are not just for you, they are meant to be shared. Second, you turn pain into action. Maybe you write, maybe you speak, maybe you mentor others who have been through similar experiences. Maybe you start a business, a project, a movement. Something that channels your suffering into something productive, something meaningful. Because pain only destroys you when it has nowhere to go. The moment you direct it towards something greater, it loses its grip over you. And third, you commit to growth. Betrayal can either make you small, or it can force you to expand beyond the limits you once had. It can make you more disciplined, more focused, more aware, but only if you allow it to shape you rather than shatter you. Some of the greatest leaders, thinkers, and creators in history were shaped by betrayal, loss, and suffering. They did not allow those experiences to crush them. They used them. And that is exactly what you must do. Because if you let this pain fuel your mission, if you take this suffering and turn it into something meaningful, then the betrayal no longer owns you. You own it. And in the end, that is the ultimate transformation, when the very thing that was meant to break you becomes the reason you rise higher than ever before. Redefine who you are. Let the betrayal be the catalyst. There comes a moment after betrayal when you realize something terrifying. You are not the same person you were before. The betrayal didn't just hurt you, it altered you. It forced you to see people differently. It shattered illusions you once held. It changed the way you move through the world. And this is where most people make a crucial mistake. They mourn the version of themselves that existed before the betrayal. They long to go back to the time when they trusted easily, when they believed in people without hesitation, when they didn't carry the weight of disappointment on their shoulders. But let me tell you something, that version of you is gone. And that's a good thing. Because the person you were before was vulnerable to betrayal. That person didn't see the warning signs. That person placed trust in the wrong hands. That person was not equipped to handle the weight of what happened. But now you have a choice. You can let this betrayal break you, leave you bitter, turn you into someone who is afraid to live, to trust, to take risks, or you can use it as the catalyst for your transformation. This is the moment where you redefine yourself, not based on what happened to you, but based on who you decide to become. So how do you do that? First, you let go of the past version of yourself. Stop trying to return to the person you were before the betrayal. That person is gone. Instead, ask yourself, who do I want to become? What kind of strength do I want to carry forward? What kind of life do I want to build from here? Second, you rebuild with intention. Every great transformation starts with destruction. The old foundation has cracked. Now you have the opportunity to build something stronger, something unshakable. You are not just healing, you are evolving, and this time you are in control of who you become. And third, you step fully into your new identity. No more explaining yourself. No more looking back. No more seeking closure from the people who broke you. You move forward as a new, sharper, wiser, more disciplined version of yourself. And here's the truth. One day you will look back at this betrayal, and instead of feeling pain, you will feel gratitude, because it forced you to become someone stronger than you ever imagined. But that only happens if you stop resisting the transformation, if you stop longing for the past and start embracing the future. Because in the end, betrayal is not just about what someone did to you, it is about what you choose to do with it. And if you choose to let it shape you into someone unstoppable, then what was meant to destroy you will become the very thing that makes you extraordinary. Betrayal is not just an event, it's a turning point. It can either break you or it can forge you into something far greater than you ever imagined. But that choice, that is yours alone. You have walked through the fire, you have felt the pain, the confusion, the loss, and now, standing here, you are faced with the most important decision of all. Will you let this define you, or will you use it to redefine yourself? Because here's the truth, this is not the end of your story. The betrayal, the hurt, the disappointment, these are not the final chapters of your life. They are the foundation of your transformation. You are not just someone who was betrayed, you are someone who rose from it, someone who took the pain and turned it into power, someone who refused to be broken, who refused to be consumed by resentment, who refused to let the actions of another determine their future. And one day, sooner than you think, you will look back at this moment and realize that it wasn't the betrayal that changed you, it was your decision to rise despite it. So move forward with clarity, with strength, with an unshakable commitment to yourself, because the best revenge is not anger. It is not proving them wrong. It is becoming someone so powerful, so disciplined, so resilient that what they did no longer matters. And that is how you take back your life. You do not just survive betrayal.